Shoot. Okay, so I thought I would just jump on here and do a little stream before bed, but this is going to be a little bit of a quiet stream because I have some people sleeping downstairs. So hopefully you can hear me okay, or whoever's tuning in. But I have been having some fun with these GlitchCore brushes. And these brushes are taking advantage of the Photoshop Bristle brush engine, and I have been creating like a veritable garden with them. And it's really fun just playing with the brushes are very technical looking and very line based, and I love playing that against like the idea of these organic shapes. So if you missed it, you can check out, I have done a few different streams all creating these kind of abstract flowers, and here's a little preview of the brushes here. And as you can see, the brush strokes are just really wild, and I really love playing with that contrast. And I just jumped on earlier, just getting back into that stream life, and I did this one. So I did that earlier today, so check it out if you missed it. And then I did these sort of tulip inspired ones. And like with this one, I love playing with the idea of like drawing a very simple shape and putting your brush strokes within those. And what's really cool is that it doesn't take any sort of special skill. So we're really letting these color blending brushes like do all the work. And if you're not familiar with the multicolor color blending brush technique using the pattern stamp tool, I've got the link down below, so you should definitely check it out. And this one, let's see, I did this one on a previous stream. This is literally like one brush stroke. And this one too, these are I just love making flowers with these brushes. This is literally 2 different brushes, super easy. And on a previous stream, I did this one too, these flowers. And as you can see, these brushes are really wild and they really mix the colors in different ways, but you can just get some really cool effects with them. So in this really quick tutorial, I am going to create this sort of kind of like a surface pattern motif, a little floral inspired, but you know, like no flowers that you've seen in nature whatsoever. So that's kind of fun. And I just love like getting like creating something out of my imagination. So the idea is a flower, but you know, these flowers do not exist in nature, and that's the cool thing. So let's just get right into it. So let me just change my view here. I'm gonna go window, arrange, 2 up vertical, and I'll just have this as like a little bit of a reference here so that we can see. And let's see here, so I've got the green in the background. I'm gonna hit Command 0 and kind of zoom out. And the first thing that I did was I created this little circle motif, and this is like literally one brush, which is really fun. So what I'm going to do is grabbing my pattern stamp tool, and again, this is using my multicolor pattern stamp technique. This has been featured on Adobe Creative Cloud, so you can check that out, but I've got the link below. And basically how it goes is when you're using the pattern stamp tool, if you specially design the brushes, then whatever colors are in your pattern are going to come out of the brush stroke. But you have to specially design the brushes. So anyway, this is a few brush strokes, but I love it. It's feeling very like Hawaii, very tropical, just a lot of fun. And I made this whole tropical color palette with these brushes. So let me, let's get into my brushes here. So I've got pattern stamp tool selected, and I've got this pink color blend with like a little bit of yellow in it. And I'm gonna grab my GlitchCore brush number 94. And this brush is really cool. If I zoom in here, you can see all the little things that are happening inside that brush stroke. So it's a lot of fun. So I'm just gonna show you here. We're just gonna like lightly make some little circles like that. And I don't think that's exactly the right color. Maybe that's the color palette that I chose. I'm not 100% sure, just kind of, that's good. Make it up as I go. But this is kind of a contained brush, so you've got all that stuff happening inside your brush as you draw your brush stroke. So let's just zoom in here so you can see. And oh my gosh, hey Vicky, I'm glad to get some people from Australia. I'm trying to do some different times, and also I just jumped back into streaming, so I'm a little rusty, a little out of practice, but it's okay. So look at all the stuff that's happening just within that brush stroke. And even if you push it harder, the brush is going to be more dense, and then if you push lighter, it's not going to be as densely filled in. So that's a lot of fun. So what I did to create this was, let's see here. What I did to create this was started with this motif, this just like simple little brush stroke, but whenever I did that, it made a flower. Hey Patrick, oh my gosh, I'm so glad to see some of my people. I didn't post to the newsletter yet because I was like, oh, I'll just do some I'll do some streams and then I'll put out my newsletter tomorrow, and you know, everybody can just watch the replay or whatever. But yeah, so I'm happy to see some familiar friendly faces and in the chats. So okay, so what I did was I just did like this motif, and some of them have like, I don't know, 5 or 6 sort of things. So you know what, let's look at this. Okay, so I'm just going to do the same kind of thing, and I'm not going to worry about spacing them out perfect. Like if you were doing this for yourself for a final project, then yeah, you can like make sure that, you know, your little pattern is perfect and everything, but I'm going to be a bit lazy, so I'll just kind of space them out a little bit here like this. And this is going to be the beginning of our little like motif. So we've got that, although that one was a bit darker, but anyway, it's not going to be exactly the same. So we're going to see how easy this is. So we've got this sort of center of our flower, our imaginary flower, because this is pure imagination. And then what did I do? Okay, so I grabbed brush 51. I just remember that. So I'm going to grab 51 from this collection, and then I'm going to grab one of the greens. Like you see, I'm not exactly sure which one it was, but anyway, these brushes are fun because if you do them like clockwise, they have one effect, counterclockwise another, so they're all quite different. So this brush is 51. It's kind of cool. You can make these really cool sort of matrixy spirograph sort of effects. But what I did was I just went like this. I kind of just followed the center of that ring and created a little bit of this sort of spirally effects around them. And there we go. So won't worry about it being perfect, but there we go. We're building some things up here. And then what else am I gonna do? So then I actually put the background layer, and it's using the same brush 51. So I'm gonna make a layer underneath that, and I am gonna grab this darker green color palette that I like to use on the leaves a lot, and it's in this collection. So I'm gonna grab that one, still have brush 51, and what I'm gonna do is like play around with doing something like this with the brushes, with this brush in the background. how many did I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I had more on that one. So that's maybe why it looks a little bit funky. But I was just having fun with this. And you can just make some kind of spirals here. Did I make some darker? Yeah. I think it just went crazy, honestly, and put this in the background. But what we're gonna do is, this is too much. It's like a bit too dark, but I love all that movement that it creates in the background, and I just keep adding strokes until it's like just how I like. But what I did was I changed the opacity to about like 75, so now it's not too much. So just kind of play around and keep adding. So we kind of see how we're building up. So we're building up that kind of depth, and it's creating a lot of movement and fun. And you're gonna see how easy it is working with these brushes. So that's the background. Now, one thing that I did, these are going to be done so fast. So underneath that first brush stroke that I did, I'm going to make a new layer, and then I'm taking my lasso tool, and I am going to create some kind of petals. And how many did I do? Like 5? Okay. So on each little sort of flower, I'm going to take my lasso tool, and I'm going to hit down my shift key, so that it makes like multiple, so that I can keep adding to my selection. So I'm going to just make these sort of leaves, we're going to call them. So that's cool. And now I'm going to take, a yellow color palette. So I'm going to grab my pattern stamp tool, grab a yellow, maybe a yellow-orange color blend, and I'm just going to grab, let's hear, what brushes did I use? I'm going to just have a little look-see. I think I just grabbed whatever, 26, 18, I think I had some 8. So what I like playing with here is like not filling in the whole area. So let's just go to 26. I have my regular brush tool selected. I want to have my pattern stamp tool, and I'm going to grab brush 26. But really, you can just play around and grab any. But and I like playing around with, not just playing around with the the pressure, because some of these, it'll fill it in totally opaque if you use harsh pressure. But then if you just have like a light touch, then it can fill it in a bit lighter, or it's not as dense. The brush strokes are not as dense. So I'm going to deselect that, and already we can kind of feel our little motif or our pattern kind of building up just a little bit. And now I'm going to grab my lasso tool again, and I'm just going to do that around all of these little flower motifs. So I'm just going to go like this, hold down my shift key, and what's cool is that they don't have to be they don't have to be perfect, and definitely like none of the stuff that I do is very like worrying about being perfect. I just I like to just enjoy the brush strokes, and I love abstract because it's very forgiving, you know, so it's fun. So I'm grabbing my pattern stamp, the same one, pattern stamp tool, and then I'll just change the brush a little bit. And I'm going to grab, let's see, our brush 18, and hope if I'm speaking quiet, I have a microphone, so hopefully it's loud enough, but I'm visiting family, and my aunt and uncle are downstairs, and they're already asleep. Okay, so I'm going to use this brush 18, and this one's kind of like more of a fill it all in sort of brush. It's very dense, so I don't know if I love that so much, but I'll just kind of go with that, and that's fine. So we won't worry about it being perfect. So we're still going to grab our lasso tool, and we're going to do that around each flower. And I think for each flower, I'm going to use a different brush just to like have some fun and play with it. But we're kind of getting the feeling of the motif. So using our lasso tool, making some petals, holding down the shift so that it's, holding down the shift so that it keeps adding to my selection. And let's see here, I'll make a new layer just so I can have a little versatility. And then let's see here, brush 8. No, why do I keep grabbing the other brush? I don't know why. Okay, here's brush 8, and this one is nice because I can use like kind of a lighter touch. And I like not filling in that whole thing, so just kind of building it up. That's fine. These ones were a little brighter, but whatever. I always like the one that I made before, and then whenever I do it in live, it's like maybe not as good, but whatever. So we're still gonna add, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because we want our little motifs to kind of all have the same number. What other, let's see, 878. Okay, let's try a different brush. Let's try 78. That's fun. It's not so filled in. Okay, so we're just having some fun there and building it up. So one last one. Let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and let's see what other brush we can have fun with. Okay, we're just grabbing 75 and we're just gonna like, this is kind of a wild brush, honestly. I could just go like this. It's wild, it's crazy. Okay, so we're deselecting that, so there we have that part. Although the ones that I created before, still love them better. Okay, let me check. Okay, so now what I did was I went back to that brush 51. So I'm gonna go above the green there, make another layer, and I'm going to change and grab brush 51, and now I'm going to just leave this yellow color palette selected, or I could even get one that's a little bit lighter and just make a couple different strokes and just add a little extra to add to that sort of floral decor, that floral motif. I don't even know if you could call it a flower, but I don't care. I think it's cool. So I'm adding like 2 strokes to each one, and that adds, and I'm making them clockwise because this brush behaves differently clockwise than counterclockwise. So there we go. So there we have a little bit of extra oomph, and I think that is it. The last thing we are going to do is these like imaginary little stems, what have you. So I'll make a layer on top of everything, and then I'm going to grab, I think it was brush 30 something, hold on, 39. Okay, so I'm going to get, it was a color palette, like I think it had pink and yellow, so we'll grab that one, and we're gonna grab, I think it's 39. Okay, yeah, so it's just a little bit of a, this one's kind of a wild sort of bandy sort of brush, and I think this could be fun in different ways, like creating divisions in sort of a background design or something. But what we're gonna do is just create some little stems coming out of here. I'm gonna click my left bracket to make that brush size down, and then I'm gonna make like maybe 3 or 4 sort of stems for each plant, flower, what have you. So that's pretty it, and it looks pretty much like the one that I made, although the one that I made before is always a little bit better. Let's look at them. So that's the one that I did before. That's the one that I did on my demo. But you get this idea. It's like very tropical. It's like, you know, you could use this to make like a pattern for surface pattern designs, people who like make patterns for sale, people who make books, like, you know, print on demand is really popular right now. So this is something fresh, unique. It didn't take a lot of effort. This, you know, the brushes did all the work. And one thing that I want to always reiterate to the people that buy my products or use my brushes is that like some people are like, oh, I they might be a little bit shy to make something just like my demo. But for me, I love giving you guys the blueprint, you know, like I want to set you guys up for success. So literally feel free to use this exact idea or a slight variation of it, do it a little bit different in your style, and you can make some make a template for, you know, well, I was going to say Canva, but I should say Adobe Express, for Adobe Express, or make a book cover design or a tote bag or whatever. Like, I literally love to give you guys the blueprints, and because I'm not making items for sale. So I just see a lot of my compatriots being very like possessive, like, oh my gosh, don't use this for this. And a lot of people feel kind of uncomfortable to use the tools or resources on items for sale, or they're like so traumatized. They're like, oh my gosh, can I use it for this? Can I use it for this? And honestly, as long as you're creating it for yourself, I don't mind that you use my tutorials that I'm putting out are like a blueprint for you. And I totally want, don't mind if you guys use this for a blueprint for your items for sale. Gotta leave. I'm glad you like it. I love getting back into the creative work. I had to take off time to do my taxes. I was working on my workflows and organization, so it feels really good to get back into doing tutorials. I love sharing creativity. I love kind of thinking outside the box and using Photoshop brushes to just all the possibilities. There's so much you can do. So I wanted to get this out before bed. It's a little bit of an ASMR one, little quiet, but super easy. And I think I'll still, maybe tomorrow I'll get online and do some more flowers, or I'll probably put out a newsletter in the morning because I haven't put one out for a few weeks, and see what my newsletter friends want to see. But I'll have something prepared for tomorrow and do like an AMA or whatever. So thanks for everybody who watches, and hopefully you enjoy the tutorial, and let me know if you have any questions. And I'm going to get ready for bed, so I will see everyone tomorrow. And don't forget that just for a limited time, you can get all of my GlitchCore brushes if you're a Behance subscriber, and it's $10. So it's pretty freaking amazing. So I'm going to sign off with this and get my butt